Provinces in the Eastern Cape, or I beg your pardon, in collaboration with the National Assembly and the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature, concludes its week-long visit to the Eastern Cape today. The visit, known as Taking Parliament to the People, also saw public participation meetings taking place during the week. Improving health and education system in the poorly performing provinces is at the center of this visit. For more on this, we cross live to our reporter Busi Jemsana, who is at the East London Christian Centre, and she is joined by the NCOP chairperson, Umamthandi Modise. It's over to you, Busi.
A very good morning. It has been a week-long visit full of activities. The oversight visit saw the NCOP visiting some schools in the area, libraries, educare center, just to discover what more the government can do. And police, the major area they're focusing on is education. You will know that the province has been at the bottom of the ladder when it comes to matric results, and all the parliament that seeks to do is to find out the challenges that are there. There have been also public hearings where the public were raising their concerns over service delivery, also to check if issues like road infrastructure, socio-economic challenges in society are linked to the drop or the state of education in the province. But Palesa, the NCOP did visit, even last year they visited the Alfred Nzo district, where Umamthandi Modise, the chairperson of the NCOP, said they have seen a very steady progress, development, and pressure being put on the leaders on the ground. So the school having ablution facilities. But she joins us now to tell us more on what transpired on the oversight visit, what transpired during the public hearings. Modise, thank you so much for your time. Are we now in a position to identify the key challenges that are facing the education system in the province?
Yes, we are, not only in the province of the Eastern Cape, but nationally. We have found that you have infrastructural problems. You have to accept that South Africa topographically is not the same, and that in fact it is the mountainous, non-reachable villages and small towns in the Eastern Cape that often perform badly, that are not supplied with learner material in time, that have suffered low morale, issues of discipline, drugs, influx of young children getting pregnant at the times they are not. It is in these areas that we have also found a lack of proper ablution facilities, lack of clean water, and generally we must say that these problems are not only about the Eastern Cape. These problems abound throughout the schools of South Africa. We have actually been impressed by the province and the basic education departments because they know which schools are problematic. So I must say we have seen the best, we have seen the worst, we have seen good performance. We have also picked up on issues where we think there are policy gaps, which we will be bringing to the notice of the authorities. But we're not here just about education. We also had communities talking about bad roads. We had communities talking about the persisting problems around the allocation of RDP houses. We have had the public complaining about how tenders are dished out and how people who don't necessarily qualify can end up with 10 contracts. We have also had people talking about the sluggish approach of police to their matters. We have the public complaining about waiting queues in clinics and in hospitals. We have listened to the perennial complaints about medication that's not on the shelf or that is on the shelf but is expired. So we have had a lot of issues in the Eastern Cape which are not just about the Eastern Cape. We are impressed that the departments have been pushing to get those temporary infrastructure in for toilets and for water. We want to ensure that the permanent structures are in place. We want to argue that South Africa cannot be equal if the infrastructure we are giving to our people is not equal. We want to argue that all school children must, as a matter of principle, have well-equipped functional laboratories and libraries. We want to decry the fact that teachers of both good and bad performing schools blame sometimes the slowness of the departments to fill vacancies in critical posts. We want to decry the lack of communication skill amongst the teachers that we met. If South Africa is to work, if we are placing ourselves in the world market, if all South Africans are supposed to aspire to drive this country, and if South Africa has said that English is our language of communication and instruction in school and record for government, then we must ensure that every teacher can communicate. And one of the things which was quite shocking was to come up to teachers who cannot express themselves, and that we think must be dealt with.
And I want us to come to the RDP issues, but before that, speaking of infrastructure problems, at times it's not that money is not there. We know that the department underspent money of about 500 million in cases like that, where departments underspend and there's still an infrastructure backlog. What do you do then?
We are Parliament. We have a lot of muscle. We have councillors in every legislature. We have members of legislatures in all 9 provinces. We've got 2 houses. All in all, we would outnumber and out-talk and out-represent the executive. What we need to do is educate ourselves as parliamentarians as to what the Constitution says we must do. We must represent. We must hold people to account. We must interrogate and ensure that the lives of people are improved. That means that we must ask the uncomfortable questions, we must follow up, we must hound people into action and into proper quality of services. And that is what we intend to do.
And coming now to the RDP issues that were raised, quite a lot of issues of people not finding their names in the list, seeing people who were below them are being put forward. It's a long-standing issue. What intervention is there going to be now to deal with this once and for all?
I think it's a simple thing. The local government has the responsibility to compile the lists for the beneficiaries of houses. The province is a mediator between the national department and the beneficiary. So we need to go and look at this transactional relationship. Why does it go wrong? But we must also, as South Africans, say who must get houses first. Is it people who are old and who, because they of circumstances, were unable to get jobs and get homes? Is it youngsters of 19 years old who must still be in school, who have got their futures up there, that must get RDP houses? Is it children who are child-headed and have nobody to look after them? Is it the vulnerables of society? And even when we get those and correct the list for beneficiaries, we must again go back to saying, what are the quality of the products that we are giving to our people? Are we ensuring that people with disabilities get houses which are friendly to them? Are we ensuring that even amongst the poor, the RDPs, you've got public amenities, other libraries, other spaces allocated for ECDs? Are there spaces allocated for children to play? Are there spaces which have been left open for people to observe their religious practices? So